Hey, greetings. It is the good, the bad, and the wrestling of Tony James podcast. And as always, the bells of justice are ringing. I want to jump right into this. We're going to talk about as the WWE calls them, the top 30 heel turns of all time. But before we get into that, check me out at YouTube at the good, the bad, and the wrestling of Tony James podcast. Check me out on Facebook at GBW podcast. Check me out on Spotify at the good, the bad, and the wrestling Tony James podcast. Check me out, follow me, click, subscribe. Tell me if you like it, if you don't, whatever it may be. And I want to thank my sponsors, Southpaw Boxing Club, Three Brothers RC, Sinbad's Gym, and Jose Sanchez Boots. Check them out. So what we want to do now, I'm going to put up on the screen here the top 50, the first half, the top 15. WWE did the top 30, and because here recently, past few weeks or so, John Cena's turned heel. Of course, they're shoving that and telling everybody that's the greatest heel turn of all time. So we're going to go through these, and I'm going to add my take as well, of course, and we'll see what we got. Okay, so WWE has officially named John Cena's heel turn as the greatest of all time in the history of the business. Well, we know that's not true. I'm sorry, John. I think it was a great heel turn. Greatest of all time. Did we see it coming? No. I think it was good. I wouldn't put it number one. Hogan forms the NWO. That's what I'm putting at number one. Seth Rollins turns on the Shield. I don't think people's talking about that. Michaels turns on Marty Jannetty. Yep. I think that needs to be in the top 10. Dominic turns on his father, Rey Mysterio. Top 15, let's say. Xavier and Kofi turn on Big E. That's a good turn, but I think they ran New Day in the ground so much that was it really that big of a deal? Because it really didn't last long, did it? It didn't have a lasting impact, so I'm taking 6 out of there. I don't care that Becky Lynch turned on Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam. Jimmy turning on Jay, no big deal. Nikki Bella turns on Brie. What makes it great is they still talk about it. They're not talking about 9. I don't even know why Triple H turns on Daniel Bryan, leading to Randy Orton cashing in the Money in the Bank. Batista turns on Rey Mysterio. Nobody cares. Paul Bearer turns on The Undertaker. Absolutely. That needs to be. Actually, I might put that in the top 5 there. That's definitely in the top 10. Shane McMahon turns on The Miz. No one cares. Bob Backlund snaps on Bret Hart. Nope, no one cares. Now, if that was Jim Neidhart turning on Bret Hart at the peak of the Hart Foundation, yes. The Mega Powers breakup, I totally agree that that should at least be in the top 15. So now let's move on to the bottom half before we start mixing and matching. So starting off with 16, Eddie Guerrero turns on Rey Mysterio. Trish Stratus turns on Chris Jericho. Scott Steiner joins the NWO. CM Punk jumps the Rock. Nothing's jumping out at me. Matt Hardy turns on Jeff Hardy. On paper, it looks good. I don't know if people are still, because they're buddies. They're buddies now still. I don't know. I guess let's put a pin in that one. Ciampa versus Gargano, no one cares. Ric Flair turns on Sting. They had been against each other for so long. I think people expected Ric Flair to turn on Sting. Sami Zayn saves Kevin Owens. No one cares. Lita betrays Kane. Nah. Mark Henry fakes his retirement. I remember that. That was cool. That was a cool thing, but I don't think as a nasty heel turn it was a big deal. Bayley attacks Becky Lynch. And Finn, now here, 27, Finn Balor attacks Johnny Gargano. I like Finn Balor. I think he's awesome. If Finn Balor would have done something with the Bullet Club, yes, but this, no big deal. Tatanka sells out. Good for him. Shinsuke Nakamura turns on AJ Styles. Good. Kevin Owens betrays Sami Zayn. We knew it was going to happen because Sam Owens is a piece of dirt. Or Kevin Owens, Sam Owens, Sammy Owens, Kevin Zayn. Kevin Owens is a piece of dirt, so who really cares on that? So there's your top 30 as the WWE sees them. So let's look at 16 through 30. I really don't. I might just go top 15 instead of top 30. I think all the ones I'm thinking about let's see. I'm going to bring up the top 15 again, and we'll see if any of them kind of dissipate into the top 30. I want to throw some stuff out there and see what sticks, see what interests you. Okay, so to be fair, I'm going to do a top 20 instead of a top 30 because I think there's a lot of filler in there. So when you look at the top, I'm making Hogan Forms the NWO number one. What do I feel is missing from here? I'm taking out 2. I'll leave 5 and 6 in. I'm taking out 7. I'm taking out 8. I'm taking out 9. I'm taking out 10. I'm taking out 11. I'm keeping 12 and moving it up. I'm taking out 13, 14. I'm moving 15 all the way up. 16, no thank you. 17, 18, 19, I'm moving 20 up. So we got to put some stuff in its place. So, hello, Andre the Giant joining Bobby Heenan. They still talk about WrestleMania 3. That's got to be on the list. Paul Orndorff turning on Hulk Hogan, bang, with the clothesline and the pile driver. You remember they sold out in Canada there, like 60, 70,000 outdoor arena. And of course, the rumor was that if Andre wasn't going to do the match, that could have been the backup main event for WrestleMania 3, because that went clear into January, February of 87. So, there's a couple right there. So you got Andre, the Andre turn, the Paul Orndorff turn. How about Barry Windham turning on Dusty Rhodes? No one saw that coming. Barry joins the Four Horsemen. Forget about Ric Flair turning on Sting. We knew that was going to happen. Barry Windham, not only did he turn, but he stayed heel for the longest time. Great, just a great heel turn. How about Ronnie Garvin turning on Dusty Rhodes and then leaving the NWA? But because he turned on Dusty Rhodes, he took the payout from Gary Hart. It allowed Barry Windham to retain the U.S. title. So there's one. So there's 4 right there. So where you want to put them? Let's go. Hogan Forms the NWO at 1. I'm doing Paul Bearer turning on the Undertaker at 2. Let's see, what do we keep here? Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels. I'm going to put that at 3, just because the impact it's made on wrestling culture. No one wants to be the Marty Jannetty of the tag teams. Wouldn't that make sense that was one of the greatest heel turns of all time? I think so. Let's see here. The other ones we're keeping. I'm leaving at 20. Matt Hardy. Mega Powers. I'm putting Mega Powers at 4. I'm putting Paul Orndorff at 5. And I'm going to move. Oh, I done messed up, didn't I? So this is what we're going to do. Just a recap here. Follow me now. Hogan 1. Andre turned 2. Paul Bearer 3. Shawn Michael 4. Mega 5. Paul Orndorff 6. I'm going Barry Windham at 7. I'm going to do, let's go back through this list here and what we were going to keep and what we weren't going to keep. I'm leaving the Hardys at 20. I'm putting the New Day turn at 19. I'm putting Dominic turning on Rey Mysterio at 18. Was there any other good ones in there? No? So let's go back up to 8. I'm doing Larry Zbyszko turning on Bruno. I mean, that's a really good one. Hey, how about number 9? The Road Warriors turning on Dusty Rhodes. And because of that, Dusty got color and, of course, got fired. Which brings me to number 10, Sweet Sapphire taking the money and turning on Dusty Rhodes. So your top 10, Hogan NWO, Andre turning on Hogan, Paul Bearer turning on Undertaker, Shawn Michael on Marty Jannetty, the Mega Power breakup, Paul Orndorff turning on Hogan, Barry Windham on Dusty Rhodes, Larry Zbyszko on Bruno Sammartino, and then we had the Road Warriors turning on Dusty Rhodes at 9, and Sweet Sapphire turning on Dusty Rhodes at 10. And we're going to stay with the Dusty Rhodes theme. Ronnie Garvin turning on Dusty Rhodes. There's your 11 right there, and we've got 18 through 20. The Mysterio feud, the New Day, and the Hardys. So we just need 12 through 17. Before we get going, please remember to check me out on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify at The Good, the Bad, the Wrestling, a Tony James Podcast. Check me out on Facebook at GBW Podcast. Okay, so we got to fill 12 through 17. So I've got one, 17. Dr. Death joins the Varsity Club. 16. Kurt Hennig wins the AWA title as a face and turns heel and actually has Medusa Michelli as his valet. Little shout out to the AWA there. So I'm going backwards, as you can see. Manny Fernandez, number 15. Manny Fernandez turns on the Boogie Woogie Man, who has had a decade-long feud with Paul Jones. He joins and teams up with Rick Rude, and they actually beat the Rock and Roll Express for the heavyweight tag team titles. So you got those. That's pretty good right there. You following me? How about number 12? Michael P.S. Hayes and the Freebirds turn on Kerry Von Erich during the Ric Flair cage match. Ooh, that's good. That's a good one. And then how about 13, Scott Hall turns on Kevin Nash and joins Hollywood, NWO Hollywood. And then finally, I've got Evolution turning on Randy Orton, if I remember it correctly. Put an asterisk by 14 in case I've screwed up here. So take a look here at what the WWE determines the top 30, or in my case, the top 20. I looked at these and I thought, what are everlasting, like, you have the heel turn, and then what happens? So, of course, you're saying, Tony, you didn't put John Cena in there. We're going to put John Cena in parentheses. We don't know what's going to come of that yet. I think you need time. All these have time to settle in, and you can look at them as great heel turns. For shock value, it happened. The dedication to the turn and the longevity of the turn, we'll see what happens. So I'm not saying John Cena's turn on Cody Rhodes wasn't a good thing. We're just going to kind of put it in wrestling purgatory, and what would we replace in the top 20 we just made here? What would it bump? So let's look at it that way. I'm not kicking it out of the top 20. I'm just letting it hover to see where it goes. So in conclusion, here are what I feel are the top 20 greatest heel turns in professional wrestling, not just the WWE, and all over the world. I'm sure you're going to debate these, but think about these, and if you got anything, put them in the comments section. Remember to link, subscribe, follow, and like. Leave your comments. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Spotify, and I'm on Facebook. The Good, the Bad, and the Wrestling of Tony James podcast. On Facebook, GBW podcast. So here we go. Number 1, Hogan in the NWO. Number 2, Andre turns on Hogan. Number 3, Paul Bearer turns on The Undertaker. Number 4, Shawn Michael turns on Marty Jannetty. Number 5, the Mega Powers explode. Number 6, Paul Orndorff turns on Hogan. Number 7, Barry Windham turns on Dusty Rhodes. Number 8, Larry Zbyszko turns on Bruno Sammartino. Number 9, Road Warriors turn on Dusty Rhodes. Number 10, Sweet Sapphire turns on Dusty Rhodes. Number 11, Ronnie Garvin turns on Dusty Rhodes. Number 12, Michael P.S. Hayes turns on Kerry Von Erich during the cage match. Number 13, Scott Hall joins Hollywood NWO and goes against Kevin Nash. Number 14, Evolution turns on Randy Orton. Number 15, Manny Fernandez joins Paul Jones's army by turning on the Boogie Woogie Man. Number 16, Kurt Hennig wins the AWA title and turns heel and uses Medusa Michelli as his valet. 17, Dr. D joins the Varsity Club. Number 18, the Mysterio feud. Number 19, The New Day, yes it is. And number 20, the Hardys. Now, you can argue. You can say the stuff I left out should have been in there. Good for you. But I'm looking at it as long lasting. And when I look at these top 30, there's only a handful I'm thinking last the test of time. And if you look at these, who's involved? Dusty Rhodes, I think, in my list is involved in the most heel turns that he's been affected by. Hogan is number 2 because it was a great formula. What do you think? I actually want to know. So, hey, check it out. The greatest heel turns of all time in the pro wrestling culture. Please check it out. Follow me, subscribe, leave your comments. Tell me what you think. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. God is good, and we will see you at the matches.
Have mercy.